Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Game Club, where you and we, you the listeners and we the hosts, grammatically totally correct. Don't give me that, Moon. It's not grammatically. It's not grammatically
I'm
correct.
judging.
Yeah,
I'm quietly judging. I'm not
yeah.
saying anything.
We're all playing a game together, and this time we're playing Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm your host, Boston. I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5. I'm joined, as always, by Moonpier
Audi, Xbox Series X, I bleed green.
and Musum.
Xbox Series X. I'm broke, and Game Pass is a really good deal.
That's right. I'm also broke, and this is on PS Plus as well, which is great. All right, let's talk about the game itself here. Released March 25th, 2022 on the PS5 and PC. This was before Bethesda was... before and during when Bethesda was purchased by Microsoft, the Xbox division, so it came out there first.
The game development Galactus, if you will.
Yes, correct. I should use the correct term. It came out April 12th, 2023 for the Xbox Series S and X. Published by Bethesda Softworks, developed by Tango Gameworks. Time travel here, Metacritic 75, OpenCritic 77. Let's talk about peers for the release date, which includes a lot of previous Game Club games, including, yet again, Far Changing Tides. Really, it's like the third or fourth time.
We pick a month, apparently.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
this
really...
should be the new theme of the show. Like, we pick 1 month.
That's right.
And just play 12 games released in that week.
Oh, gosh.
March 2022. We're hitting 12 games. Puzzle Quest 3, along with Shadow Warrior 3, Babylon's Fall, rest in peace, Tunic, another fine Game Club jam, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, Norco, and Weird West. So we've played like 5 of those games from this show. It's a good month. It's a good month.
It is. So yeah, this is overlooked compared to everything else in that pile, we'll say.
Yeah, we'll ask the question we ask every month: is it top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked? I'm gonna put it sort of in the middle of the pack here, because this is kind of in the middle of... So it was directed by Shinji Mikami, and the creative director was Ikumi Nakamura, and that was kind of in the height of her popularity after her kind of famous showing at E3, which I believe was for this game, I want to say.
I think it was, yes. I think it was the reveal trailer for this specifically.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah. So I think... to me, that was kind of middle of the pack, because everyone was like, we really want to see what Tokyo's going to do after the Evil Within was the previous games. And like, what are they going to do next? And this was... Yeah, this was their next outing before, the very tonally similar Hi-Fi Rush. So it was kind of smack in the middle of all of those. What do you think, Musum?
I agree. I think it's kind of a middle of the pack. I had a few friends who kind of mainlined it, and they kept telling me how good it was, and for some reason I kept ignoring them. I'm used to not relating to liking the same games as my friends, because I'm such an RPG-er, and I don't play as often as I used to. So, but it made a couple friends top 10s, and if we're being like, a lot of our Game Club games we play are kind of niche a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, Tunic, I feel like was pretty loudly received, but like a lot of the others, Weird West or whatever that was called, like
Norco.
Yeah, like I feel like those are, oh man, especially Norco.
Yeah, we tend to kind of gravitate towards the games we wouldn't be playing normally for whatever reason, especially kind of the smaller, potentially hidden gems.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get into talking about the game itself, just a quick reminder here that we will be talking about spoilers, as we do every month, because Game Club games are, I guess except for maybe last month's game, are typically spoiler casts as well, when there are stories to spoil. So we will be covering as much of the story as we can as possible. I also want to admit something here at the outing. I was going into this game trying to hate it because
Wow.
I didn't like anything they had shown. I really, really, really don't like games where characters are doing hand movements in front of the camera, like first-person movements. I really, really don't like those. That's why I haven't played Boomerang X, because I think it is super annoying. But man, this game won me over, and I actually really like it a lot. In the end, it cracked my cold, dark heart and said, "No, I'm actually a pretty good game."
That's awesome. But I also want to say you put such a long pause after you said, I don't like games. I was like, is he leaving it there?
I don't like games. I've been lying for the last decade.
Hey, we've still got like 150 episodes to go of the mainline show.
That's
Thank
right.
you very much.
That's right. Then I can say, yeah, TVGP 1000, I can say I've hated games all along.
So I'm sorry, I cut you off, Moonpeer. I was about to call you.
It's okay. It's not that we're all tired and punchy today at all.
Yeah,
not at all. The same as you, Boston. Like I wouldn't say I was literally going in to hate it. Like this wasn't like this is a great tenor phrase that I can't use because we're a PG show here. Which everybody knows what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. I went into this very dismissively because of the similar reasons. I felt like this was 100% trying to capture both, because it is a lot of Japanese lore, culture, stories, things like that. So I thought, well, this is a game for Japan that the weebs are going to jump on, because
sure.
It's good. You're aiming for the Naruto weebs, for the
y'all like that Evangelion. It's like hiss.
Yes. Like, and don't get me wrong, all three of us in our own separate ways are weebs of one form or another in this call. But I kind of just dismissed it. I just didn't. I was like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And yeah, vibe check ahoy! It's actually a really solid game.
Yeah, it turns out to be great.
So my confession is I didn't beat it because, truth be told, I am incapable of mainlining a game like this. I didn't realize what type of game it was going to be beforehand, and I really thought it was going to be this real generic thing from like a lot of the marketing pictures.
Hands in the air here. Can we call this the Weird West syndrome, please?
the like totally unknown genre of these games we're going into.
Yeah, and then putting 40 hours into one character when there's 5 characters to play, kind of situation.
Yeah.
Well, this one turns out to be the opposite side of the coin, where it's like, oh no, this is a Yakuza game. Like, it's technically an open world game, but it's not a very huge area, but it is densely packed with cool stuff to do. And it's like, oh no, my weakness.
Yeah, like the last week or two, I was telling myself, like, you just got to mainline the game. You can go back and do the side stuff you want to do later. And every time I'd just be walking to the next destination, and it's not even a conscious thought. It's just, oh, here, I'm clicking on this green guy. Oh crap,
I got another Nagatama. All right, let's go.
Guess I'm stuck in this school for the next 4 to 6 hours.
Right.
Yeah. That was it was a slightly annoying set of side quests, but it also had like the creepiest part in the game for me, at least, if you guys did the school stuff.
I didn't, but go ahead.
Which school? Was it the music school?
The Mr. Gutsy.
Oh, I didn't do that one. I did the music school one. That was pretty good.
I did not find most of the game particularly creepy, but Mr. Gutsy creeped me the F out. Like, it was... Like, you go into, it's kind of in the northern part of the map, like near where the forested area is.
Oh, okay. I didn't explore that much.
Yeah, like you have to go in the school, and it turns out these kids summoned this spirit, and the spirit, like, there's an anatomical, like, full-sized mannequin that comes apart, and it follows you when you're not looking at it.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's the angels from Doctor Who. Okay.
Yeah.
It is goofy and creepy looking. It's slightly annoying. Like they do a couple of those puzzles in that map, but I think the school thing would be worth going back to try out if you guys have a few hours.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I've got a bajillion things to do in this game because I have a problem with achievements.
Yeah. I
Did
think
any of you guys have issues with the controls like I did?
so. This is actually an interesting topic because you posted your control scheme, your kind of preferred control scheme in the Discord, and I didn't really. It feels loose. It is certainly not as tight as I think the controls I would prefer them to be on a controller. I'm sure it's fine on keyboard and mouse, but I didn't change them, and I didn't run into a ton of problems. But there were a couple of times where I'm fighting a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I wish it was a little bit tighter.
So I don't remember what I specifically did, but every first-person game I play, I always wind up changing the horizontal camera speed.
Yes.
I usually increase that significantly, and then the vertical one a little bit, and that usually gets me to it. But I agree. I would have liked the targeting in it to be a little bit tighter than it was.
A little bit more auto aim to kind of help things out.
But I did enjoy like a lot of the different combat mechanics they piled on, so it kind of made me forget that the initial combat controls are a little clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in Discord, but I spent like an hour and a half cycling through different recommendations of control schemes because I just couldn't get the feel of the game down. And based on my Google searches, I am not the only one who thinks like that because there's a bajillion help pages of this is my recommended control scheme for Ghostwire Tokyo. So I did some tweaking. I got it the way I wanted it to eventually. And I'll be honest, that was like pretty much the only complaint I had about the game. Nope. I got another one.
Okay.
It defaults to Japanese audio with English subtitles.
That's what I left mine on.
I would have left mine on that if they would stop talking to each other during combat. I cannot read subtitles while I'm in the middle of combat and trying to dodge like a whole bunch of things flying at me. And then even better when an achievement pops up and it covers the subtitle area.
It drives me nuts. Yeah. I left it in Japanese VO and English, and I also had the same problem of sort of things getting lost in combat. But thankfully, after the early parts of the game, a lot of it is just like, yeah, you got him, you ripped out the cores, let's go. And then like the rest of it was pretty incidental.
English voice acting is actually pretty solid.
Oh, nice.
I mean, Steve Bloom's KK.
Really?
Well,
Oh man, I should have played it in English then. Curses.
I just don't do subtitles anymore. Like I've come to terms that I'm just a dubs, not subs guy. You know, anime people can hate me.
Everybody's got their preferences. Nobody should at you about that.
Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah. I do have to give the game a lot of credit. There's at least on the PS5, there were a ton of graphics settings.
There is on the X2.
And I was really, the version I set it to was the HFR mode, the high frame rate mode, with reflections and VSync. And that got me to 120 frames with VSync, which is really, really impressive. And I don't think I ran into a single drop the whole time, which is even when there's a lot of stuff going on screen, it was pretty stable.
Yeah.
I think the only glitch I encountered was a glitch in the vibration on the controller. Like there were a couple times where the controller wouldn't stop vibrating, and I either had to find a new scene to kind of get it out of it, or I had to load a game. But
speaking of
that's
Go ahead. Oh, speaking of the controller, I am really, really impressed with how the DualSense worked. They did the thing with the controller that I really like that more studios are doing, which is KK's voice comes out of your speakers and the speaker on the controller at the same time, but the one in the controller is a little bit quieter, so it sounds kind of otherworldly. They did that in Forspoken as well, too, and I like that a whole lot. And they did the the controller resistance when you're pulling out cores. You kind of have to like really rip
That's really good.
the thing
that's
down
cool.
to rip the cores out. That felt really good. Like the thing that most developers, you don't need to do a lot with the DualSense, but even just a little bit of stuff like that goes a really long way. Like pulling the spirits out of those spirit clouds. They don't do the resistances on the I think it's R2 or L2. They don't do the resistance on that, but the vibration in the button goes really crazy as you're pulling them. It's like these are all cool little things that I think make a pretty big difference.
I really got to upgrade my PlayStation subscription because I don't think I got that game on PlayStation Plus, and that sounds really cool. I always forget about the cool stuff they did with the controller.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we like? There are a lot of things I want to go a little bit in detail in here. I've got one particular question that I need to ask because there's so many of them.
Sure.
But I want to start with, what did you guys think of like the general art style / world, like the whole modern day Tokyo with really realistic depictions of traditional Japanese folklore monsters. Specifically,
I loved it.
Me too.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
The thing that killed me, and made me like freak out the first time I did it was the first time you do a stealth kill on one of the business suit people.
In their face bends towards you.
Yep.
I was like, oh my, all right, you're going all the way with it. Yeah, I liked the setting a lot. It's nice to see the kind of dichotomy between the modern Japanese setting and the folklore Oni kind of Japanese demons and mischievous ne'er-do-wells. Like that stuff feels really cool, and I think I think my only criticism for that is I kind of wish that some of the stuff was creepier. On the other thing I forgot on the PS5 is you know when you're getting near enemies and you have that kind of static noise.
Yes.
That noise would get louder and louder in the controller speaker as you were getting closer to enemies. So that was kind of unsettling feeling, and I liked that. But the game tries to play with its own architecture and tries to play with its own environments in a way that I think is really neat. That
is the thing I wanted to make sure we definitely talked
Yep.
about, because we all lost our minds when Control came out and did some of the things it does, like the spinny spiral corridors and the
impossible
chair itself.
architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this game took that and was like, oh, we can do that too, except now you're going to be walking through a corridor which is going to turn into an invisible floor where you're walking on air above the skyline of Tokyo.
Right.
It's so, like, all of that stuff is so cool.
Yeah,
like
it's really cool, and I wish it was... my only major complaint about this game is I wish it was spookier. Because I think there's some stuff that's unsettling. I don't think there's anything that's really scary, but I wish it was kind of the stuff that Japanese horror is so good at, where it's just like, I don't want to look at this anymore because it's just so unsettling and it's so weird and odd. And I like it that I kind of appreciate that they didn't go all the way with it, because I think you get stuff that's really cool where it's like all of the walls in this bedroom are TV screens and they have like the blue screen of death on them, and then they get covered in bloody newspaper and stuff like that. But I wish it was like a little bit more unsettling.
Yeah, I think that probably is them being held back a little bit by the nature of being an action game, like essentially a first-person shooter when we get down to it. I think if they took an Amnesia kind of approach to this, where it's very minimal weapons, like kind of more survival horror, I think they could lean into that a bit more. But I do think that that leads on to one of my biggest questions, which is, do you guys have any like standout like missions, side missions, things like that? Because Boston just reminded me of one, and I finished one earlier today that I kind of have to throw out a mention too.
Mhm.
So, like, any particular side missions or locations that like jumped out at you?
I think the first time you fight the lady with the hat that has the giant scissors, where she like
Mm.
grabs your hand from out of frame and then starts messing you up. Like I was not ready for a boss fight at all, and I had no health and no essentially ammo, and that fight. If you don't know how to block very well, that fight is going to go very poorly. I
Oh,
thought that was one of the memorable ones, and I think walking through that hospital to go check up on your sister at the very beginning of the
oh,
game.
jeez, that sequence is rough.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I like it anytime they replace the walls with stuff where it's like you're walking through this hallway, the walls are on fire. Like
Mhm.
all these desks and chairs are moving by themselves and they blocked the hallway off. Now you got to go a different way. It's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they had the side quest where you go in a bathhouse and you go in the back and then it, starts warping into other stuff and you have to go
Hmm.
quite a ways in to kind of get there. And then once you beat the inevitable mob of ghosts, then you get pushed out and you're just like, oh, it's a regular maintenance room.
Yeah. I mean, they even do that at the very end of the game too, when you're in that like last chapter going up to the final boss, where you're kind of revisiting the places from your childhood, and you're kind of walking through this normal environment. And then there's like big green door, you crack it open, and you go through another place from their childhood. Like I liked that kind of back to back reliving their childhood sequence.
So I have to give a shout out to the last passenger on a train side mission,
Oh, I didn't do that one yet.
which is the legend that if you are the last passenger or the only passenger on a train,
Mm,
there
yeah.
is a chance that the train will stop somewhere at a stop that doesn't exist.
Mm.
Um, and it's really tense, like when you're doing it, and the banter between KK and Akito is incredible in that sequence.
I,
Toddlers ride for free is one of my favorite lines.
there are
Um,
so many great side quests in this game, and like
mhm,
each one is just here is a piece of folklore. Here's a legend from this either this region or kind of from Japan. That I like that they give each one kind of their own time to breathe, and you get this weird thing, and then like Musim
mhm,
said, like you get kicked out, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just like a maintenance shed. It's just
mhm.
it's an hour-long side quest in there, but it's just a maintenance shed. No big deal.
Honestly,
Yeah,
the side quests are my favorite part of this game.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm,
The side quests are incredible. Like they're
yeah.
so unique. This isn't a go and get, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them are, trap the weird frog swimming thing with a cucumber kind of things.
Yeah, and then you
Um,
like fight a bunch of ghosts at the end of it, and it's like, okay, but
yeah.
but like the setup and the delivery of all of them are so good.
mhm.
Um, Again, I want to shout out the weird eye painting. I can't remember where that one was.
Yeah, yep,
But it's where the walls get covered in like charcoal drawings of eyes, and they watch you and move throughout the corridor as you're moving throughout the corridor.
yep, that one was good.
Um, and my probably my favorite is the one I just did, which was the painting of the water dragon, which is in the cemetery.
Oh, I didn't do that one.
So you go into the temple of the cemetery, and it's got a traditional like sliding door artwork with
Hmm.
clouds and stuff, but the dragon is missing because the dragon has escaped from the painting.
That's great.
So you have to, as you leave the temple looking for it, it goes across the floor, and you see like this projection of this dragon like moving across the floor,
Oh man.
and you have to seal all of these points. But when you get to like the final point, it's like this huge wall, and there's just this like flying traditional Japanese long body, no wings kind of dragon,
Hmm.
like on this wall, just staring you down while it's flying around, and then you have to seal it and send it back to the painting.
That's cool.
I like
And this
that.
game is cool.
Did you guys do the hoarder one?
I
Yes.
don't. Oh, I don't know if I did.
The hoarder house, like you have to kind of track. I don't remember a lot of the specifics of it, but from what I remember, you're trying to track down a ghost that's been turned into a specter kind of thing, and all the visuals of it are like the house is beyond trashed anyway, but like they put you into the spectral realm kind of thing with it too.
Right.
But there's some good comedy. I still think the school has some of my favorite moments I played in the game, period, but it's a long set of quests. Like, you're going to spend a couple hours in it, and there are some genuinely difficult sections to it that can be borderline frustrating, but the Mr. Gutsy sequence I thought was incredibly clever and genuinely creepy. Like,
yeah, like I love how many one-off side quests in this basically just give you like 7 more side quests. Like, I only just unlocked the photo hunt mode. I've already beat the game, but I've only just got the photo hunt mode where it gives you a photo and it's like, go to this location and cleanse the photo.
That's cool. I never found that.
Go back to your base. If you go back to KK's home base, he's got a box of photos, so you can go and do it there.
Gotcha. That's cool.
But it gives you the photo that you can just hold up, and it's a shortcut on the keyboard, on the controller to hold it up. You just hold the photo mode button, and he holds up the photo.
That's
you can.
Great.
It's not Zelda where you've got to go through 7 menus and then find the thing. But when you're looking at the photo, if you flip it over, it's got a black spot on the back, and the closer you get to where the photo is taken, that spot turns into a stain, which turns into like a really bad ghost handprints all over it kind of situation.
That's cool.
So I got the first one of that. It's like, cool. Now do all of the rest of the photos. I was like, okay. And then I found a ghost who wants to play hide and seek, and now he's all over my map as well. And I found the yokai who lives in a tree, and now he's all over my map as well. Right. It's like,
well, and nevertheless, the Tanuki hunts as well, where you run into stuff that just has a waggling raccoon tail. It's like, yes, that's really good. I like that they're always surprised every time. Where it's like, I dressed up as a vending machine. Like, how did you find me? It's like,
for some reason, the humans kept giving me these shiny things. Is a great line from the vending machine.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah.
There's a really good game, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in this. I think if I wanted to really nitpick it, I probably could, but like, I even liked the 3 different elements you got. You got like your normal kind of assault rifle as the wind, you got a shotgun as your water, and then the fire one is kind of your piercing, like almost sniper rifle thing. I'm glad you didn't get more abilities than that, or like essentially weapon types than that, because I feel like I used wind the majority of the time anyway, so anything above and beyond that probably would have been pretty annoying.
I used that water freeze radius thing a lot. Like,
that's so good.
Yeah.
I like the wind machine gun one as well, where he's literally doing finger guns. I just like it because it's finger guns.
Pew, 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 pew.
Speaking of hand animations, who the heck punches a number in a phone that way?
Yes, it's some of the weirdest, like using every finger to type the numbers. Like, it's very weird.
Like the hand kind of rotates, like the fingers don't move so much. It's
it's odd.
When you beat the game, you will get a set of beads that are transmission beads, Boston. You probably already have them.
I do, yeah.
So that when you get to those the spirits that you absorb, it just transfers them. You don't have to go to a phone anymore. It's great.
Yep. It's really good.
Something. Oh yes, abilities. I cannot believe how game-changing the create my own flying gargoyle guy ability was.
Yeah, the Tengu. Yeah.
Yes, like the ability to look at the edge of a platform and just create one by myself is just like, okay, now I love this. It's like the grappling hook in like the Batman games. It's just like, cool, I'm going up. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to run across the rooftops.
Yeah,
I was surprised how much verticality there was to this game, and very appreciative that they made it falling damage non-existent.
Thankfully. I was not a big fan of the kind of gliding mechanic. I like that
It
it was
feels
there,
weird.
but it's like the meandering kind of side to side swimminess that was in it was really odd. I mean,
Mhm.
you got
It,
where you were going, but it's just weird.
it's a weird one because you have to hold forward to glide forwards. If you're
Hmm.
not holding forwards, it just slows you down when you're falling.
Yeah,
So by holding forward though, it's also just tweaking your angle a little bit. So you can't just line it up and hit a button to go there. You have to actually control all the way, which is a little odd.
yeah, yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to think of anything.
Oh, oh, oh,
Oh, go
oh.
ahead.
Another thing I love. The streetlights go red when you're in combat. It's
Oh
such a
yeah.
Yeah,
neat little touch.
when the enemies are kind of trying to find you, they're that kind of yellowish orangish color. Like they're really,
Uh-huh.
and they get the kind of J.J. Abrams
The lens
lens
flare, yeah.
flare on them. Yeah, it's really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great uh, stuff like that I think there's a lot like it feels like a million little touches in this game that are all really
Uh-huh.
great.
They they also did a very smart thing and they made it rain occasionally because everything looks so much better in the rain, and this is no exception.
Yep.
Man, and the demon parade thing, like that was
Yep.
always
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
I
always
was telling
interesting to run into.
telling Moon that I accidentally ran into those once because I was like coming out of a side alley and I bumped into it, and KK is like, "Well, we're going in." I was like, "Okay, let's see what the heck this thing is. I hope I survive." All right. Oh boy. Yeah. Um. I
What? So
Go ahead.
we should probably talk about the main story, which is fine. Like
It's
the
okay.
mainline story, it's okay. I don't think it's this game's strongest point.
No, I like the main villain, Hanya. Is that who it is?
I think it's
Um.
Hanma, but yes.
Oh, okay. I kind of like the main villain, and I I like the gist of the story, which is essentially like, maybe you and your sister are both sort of struggling after the untimely passing of your parents, um,
Uh-huh.
and maybe you should stop being so self-centered about it. Um,
Yeah, everyone's full of regrets, essentially.
yeah, I wish that the game focused a little bit more on KK's old crew of ghost hunters.
Yes.
That
You want
seemed
the hashtag family moment?
That's right. That's right. It seemed like it was such a cool thing, and I think you could draw some lines between what KK and Akito are doing, but they didn't focus enough on it, I think, for me, because it was really Akito's story, which is fine, but I don't think it's,
Yeah,
like you
but
said, I don't
also
think
at
it's
the
as
same
strong.
yeah, at the same time though, KK gets the best, most character development through the course of the entire game. Like
Hmm.
his character from the start of the game to the end of the game is the one who actually has development.
Right.
And that whole evolution of their relationship is fantastic.
Even
Like
though he still hates waiting for you to do the shopping.
the shopping,
By the
yes.
way,
And
the cat
he always wants to know if you get him anything.
store runners, the store operators are really great.
Mhm.
Those are
I like the fact that there's like several kinds. You got the ones who run the corner stores,
Yep.
who, if you've noticed, there is specifically a no cats allowed sticker on those corner stores
Yep.
doors, which I
Hmm.
love. And then you've got like the market ones, which sell you like food from like a stick in front of them.
Hmm.
And then you have the special collectible cat ones who are only interested in rare objects. It's cool.
Yeah.
That rare objects one is actually pretty neat. I like that they have the unlockable like emotes and outfits and stuff like that as part of that. I thought that was a really clever kind of old school, sadly old school sort of thing. Where it's like, hey, you want some more outfits? Go collect all this rare stuff. It's like, cool, yeah, I can do that.
I did get the hilarious one of like the looks like he's in a giant stuffed animal suit for like the ancient prince and princess one.
I didn't get that one. That's great,
It's so stupid.
man.
It's hilarious, but it's stupid.
I think I wore the newspaper hat the entire time.
The
Like
newspaper hat's really good. Yep.
I always
Um,
forgot about it, and then a cutscene would happen. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so awesome!"
See,
Man.
I went with the purple suit because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
playing the Series X version, so I got like the purple, like Prince looking suit at the start.
Mhm.
So I was like, cool, I'll use that. But then when you first get the ability to do the synergy move, and you see KK's outfit, and then Akito comes out dressed in KK's outfit.
Yeah, I was like, that's my outfit now.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I'm sticking with this outfit now.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like the black kind of like motorcycle suit looking thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a free runner modern day youth kind of
Yeah, exactly.
kind of look.
Yeah, our next Mirror's Edge sequel. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I of course I can't believe I forgot about it till just now. Enjoyed all the dogs that you get to pet and feed, and
the cats
that have thoughts.
Wish you could feed the cats, but that's
yeah.
a thing.
What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. They put their stake on the great cats versus dog war.
Uh-huh.
They said, I'll feed the dogs.
It made me a little sad sometimes when I'd see a dog and they'd have their leash on and their owner's clothes were just behind them.
Man, what a cool design idea though, of just like these empty clothes all over Shibuya.
Yeah.
Like really just a cool, like, no, everybody did just disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The subway's great for that too, because you got like suitcases right next to like business cases and random outfits next to each other. It's just like, oof, so many people.
And it makes sense why you're finding all the convenience store bags all over the place. It's like, yeah, someone was just going home with their dinner. Now you can pick it up.
I just remembered a hilarious side quest. So you run into a ghost who wants to use the bathroom, but someone is in the stall and won't get out. So you have to bring the person in the stall multiple things of toilet paper. And then when you go to tell the person it's their turn in the bathroom, they're like, oh, thank you. I guess I can move on, but I didn't get to use the bathroom. And it disappears.
And vanish, yeah. It's
That's
so
great.
good.
It's such a good bit.
This game is great. Yeah, like genuinely surprised at how much I liked this game. I think it's really well made overall. It kind of shares
it looks great too. Like we haven't actually mentioned that, like fidelity wise, it looks insane.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's one of those like, yes, this is why it's an Unreal Engine 4 game. So it's like, yeah, this is why we run Unreal Engine 4, because we can just make great looking stuff with it. And yeah, I think it's a super well designed, super fun game. I like it sharing a bunch of open world DNA with the Yakuza games, where it's like you can go anywhere you want in this small area, and there's just going to be so much stuff in here, with the added verticality in this one of being able to go up on the rooftops, go into apartments every once in a while. They'll be like, yeah, there's a KK's report in here, and I was like, I would have never known this. I could go into this apartment. That's wild.
Do you guys have a favorite yokai?
I think the like fake wall yokai is kind of great.
Yeah, that one is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
It's so gross looking.
It's really gross.
It catches me off guard every single time I run into it.
Yeah. Same as with the spirit, that the invisible one that throws trash at you that looks like a big kind of gloopy pile of garbage. I'm always like, oh, I gotta fight one of these again. Ugh, gross. Ugh.
I will say I did hate fighting the water serpent ladies. They are the worst.
I really don't.
That game.
Yeah, I don't like them. Did you guys have the Spider's Thread update as part of the Xbox version? You could see the extra enemies. Okay, some of the extra enemies felt pretty okay. Like the spinning red umbrella person was actually pretty difficult. I did not try the roguelike mode in this game though, because I thought that would probably be a self-preservation move to not try it. But I know that's what the Spider's Thread mode is, so I haven't tried that.
I think my favorite yokai was the Haunted Towel.
Yes.
Because you just have to like do like rooftop running and chase it down until you eventually got it, and it literally is just a towel with a face on it, which is funny for me for some reason.
I don't think I ever found that one. That sounds great.
It's like the tree one. It's like you do the first one, and then all of a sudden they're all over the map. And because like when I looked at the skill trees, I was like, well, these things only need like 56,000 of those Magnamados or whatever you get for capturing a yokai, and it's like, there isn't that many. I'm not seeing how I can get that many. And then you do the first tree one, and it's like, oh, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one.
There's 13 Magatamas all over the map. All right, there we go.
Yeah, and then you do the first towel one, which is a side quest that someone was attacked by a haunted towel,
Mhm.
and then when you do that one, you get them all over the map as well. But they're all up on the rooftops, so you've got to do like a rooftop
Right.
run, like
Seem like
chasing it down
that
thing.
yokai that has the really long neck with the lantern in its mouth. The one where you have to like chase it up and like through water vents and stuff
I
like that.
haven't even seen that one.
Oh yeah, that one's wild. Yeah, there's so much stuff in this game. Like I feel like if you kind of only go through the main game itself, I think you'll probably have the same complaint that a lot of reviewers did of like, yeah, it's like one arena battle after another. Like I don't know what's great about it, and that's true. But I think that the true strength of it is,
I think you're missing the side quests.
you're like missing the real part of the game, which is here's how wacky the rest of this game is.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like I actually appreciate this because it's thrown in a whole bunch of stuff. Like the Tengu was something I knew was a folklore thing from Tekken.
Oh right.
Caused me to research that. The Oni is something I knew was folklore kind of thing, and I knew about the thing that likes cucumbers that I can't remember the name of now. But I didn't know about the haunted towel. I didn't know about the fake wall thing. Like I didn't know about that fake wall is horrifying because it traps people in rooms. By the way, like people will die because that thing was just like, this is my wall now. This is me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it taught me so much like of that folklore. Like I actually looked it up, and yes, there is a Japanese legend, which is if you're the only passenger on the train, this might happen. It's like cool. Like you're literally just looping everything in. It reminds me of Control, and that is not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's very like, it being a huge Shin Megami Tensei fan, like a lot of that lore is in Shin Megami Tensei, but the wall is not,
right,
that I recall. But
yeah,
I liked the spin on the Onis where they're actually non-violent. It just was like a thing assigned to them.
Yeah.
I don't know, Japanese lore's just so cool because you just don't hear it very often over here. So like, there's just a ton of like imagination in it that you kind of get to experience for the first time that Japan just has heard all their lives.
Right.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I did love about Control, and I do love about whatever that thing is that Nimp is really likes the
SCP stuff. Yeah, the SCP
there we
stuff.
go.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, look, here is a haunted fan in Control, and it's believed to cause deaths. And it's like, if you know about the Korean belief about sleeping in the same room as a fan can kill you, it makes perfect sense. If you don't, it's one of those things that just it can be that connection you need to learn about different things.
Right.
Oh boy. I made a mistake. I googled the name of the wall yokai, and it's Nurikabe. Y'all should totally check out some of the traditional designs of this because
I don't
it's
think
even
I would like to.
creepier than you might realize.
Goodness.
It's not great.
Yeah. Well,
he
Moon
looks cute in the game.
Moon, what are your kind of final thoughts here for Ghostwire Tokyo?
Honestly, it is a lot. It's a lot better than I was expecting, and I spent that first hour and change really frustrated with the controls, like trying to get it all nailed down to how I felt like it should be. But I think once I broke past that and started getting into the game, especially when I started doing side quests, it was like, okay, no, this is actually a genuinely great game, and like, it's. I have a collectathon ahead of me, which is regrettable, but sure.
Well, don't worry. There's only 230,000 spirits in the game.
Yeah. Fortunately, for the achievement, I only need 200,000. Thank goodness.
Okay, there we go.
So there's 30,000 to spare, which I like when games do that.
Yeah.
But it also runs perfectly fine as a podcast game because, like, when I get to a side quest with some story sections, I can like pause the podcast, listen to the dialogue, because it's really well written. Like credit where it's due. Like the dialogue between KK and Akito is incredible. The main bad guy is kind of but
Yeah.
like that goes along with the whole main story. But like the side quests, when you're like hearing about like the guy who's waiting for his girlfriend, but his girlfriend didn't show up because she was trapped in the side of a spirit doll by some girl who was jealous about her.
That's a good one. Yep.
Like stuff like that is all just like, this is really cool and like heart wrenching, and like the dialogue is written well. The voice acting is superb in places.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, cool. I'm probably gonna play this game until I get all the achievements in it. Like,
Yeah.
because I wanna read all of KK's files. I want to find all of those case files and read all about the random crap that he did and found beforehand.
You want to do all of the incredibly cool side quests.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah. Musum, how about you?
I really love this game. I think this is going to be one of those games that I just play off and on, possibly for the next 10 years.
Right.
Maybe one of these times I'll beat it, but it very much just has this nice comfort medicine of get in and do a couple really, just grab the first couple green things next to me. Like maybe one of them's just a battle arena, and maybe the next one is like actually a thing that has a little half-hour story to it that I'll enjoy. And it's just it's a good thing. I could see me buying this on some other platforms to play it on Steam Deck and experience the PlayStation 5 controls and things. So I love this game. I think it's great. I think it may not have been the best game for this podcast just because of how long it is and how I like to play games, but I'm very glad we played it because otherwise I wouldn't have. So maybe it is the best thing for this podcast.
Yeah, I agree. I shockingly really great. I'm glad we were able to give it a shot. I'm glad it's on Game Pass and PS Plus, so you can just kind of pick it up and play it wherever. And yeah, I don't have too much else to add. It's really great. If you're still listening to this point and you haven't played it, you probably should. It's genuinely really good. All right, so that goes for our Tokyo. Let's talk about next month's game. We're going to be playing Werewolf: The Apocalypse: Heart of the Forest, which came out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, Linux, and OS X. So you can play along with us. I am going to be out of town for a bunch this month, so we are going to be pushing our recording back a week again, and we hope you'll come play along with us, play a game with us, and we'll hope we'll see you there. Bye.
Bye. I had to do an impression of the Suit Man.
That's right. Boo.